Okay, so my takeaways, really, my main takeaways from the values module is a bit of a combination of things, really. The first was about role modeling values as a facilitator. So I have very strong values and make decisions by them from a personal perspective and from the organisation that's set up as well. And but just the thought of in that training room of actually actively role modelling those values as well was just very important and interesting to me. And also as well the importance of really kind of seeking to connect delegates to their personal values and organisational values, and interweave that really into the you know, the subject discussion, and just how important that is as well, because I've always felt that training is has to be meaningful, and that if it's not meaningful, then, you know, could get and receive some fantastic information, but if it's not meaningful, there's less potential for change. And I think that this learning for me around the values and that interweaving it into the subject and connecting delegates to that is kind of has given a bigger meaning for me, I think, with regards to meaningful and you know, and making that learning meaningful, and because then it's just got the potential for such an impact, really, and a change in the everyday practice of you know, of our delegates, and in a way that then just really improves those outcomes for the, you know, and for our training for asylum seekers and refugees, but, you know, but with regards to that subject matter. So yeah, so I've found it really, and I guess that they're just the main things, but there's lots of deeper stuff, I think, in that as well. But that would be my main kind of takeaways for, you know, to share today.
My main takeaway from the values module is quite interesting reflection. The question, so what, popped into my mind. You know, imagining that I delivered this training session on a subject that my values are in, and everything was amazing. The question, so what the delegates are doing with this afterwards. You know, assuming that they understood all the information, they was involved during the session, and all that. What each one of them will do with that information, how, you know, and the values obviously are playing a huge amount of contribution here, and almost a curiosity, because, you know, being a training facilitator, you know that every other person in the training room is a unique person with their own personal values. They might have we share in the beginning of the sessions day why, the reason they are doing the training, might be various whys, but really is, again, that question, so what? I've done this training now, how am I going to use this training for myself? And I think that's my incentive as a training facilitator. I would like to create such a learning environment, such an experience, that when the trainees are going away to work or home, they can use that based on their values, whatever those values are.
For me, the values model, I think, was the biggest personal growth for me. Taking it away from the facilitating side, it moved me quite a huge step away from 30 years as a police officer, where my values were, as a police officer, I was seen as a police officer, I wasn't me. And I've spent a year sort of trying to find sort of what I am about, really. And so the values model really took me back to understand why I've done everything that I've done in my career and my personal life. So, you know, everything that I've done from leaving school, from being at school, from going into the police and then choosing a career that took me through a safeguarding was all because of the values that I had. And I got those values from my parents, and I can see that back now. And I'm very proud of the fact that I've got that connection with them. But for me, this module was quite a personal growth for me in understanding me and why I choose to do the things that I do, and what I value in other people. I hadn't also realised how important it was to value yourself. It almost felt that that was a little bit of vanity and a little bit of like nice to do, a little bit of icing on the cake. But again, I've linked that to, you know, how do you truly value characteristics and things in other people if you don't value them in yourself, if you see it in yourself as well. So certainly sort of the last few weeks covering the values model, I've really found a lot about myself. And I'm not a bad person. I've found some nice traits that I haven't been too offended by, but I've also found some stuff that I personally would like to work on and see myself grow a little bit around some tolerance issues and stuff like that. So I've been on a personal journey over the last few weeks, really around values.
When I first looked at values, I hadn't really thought of it before. It was just me. It was something which made me, and I've never really dissected it. And when I did, it started to make me feel quite proud about myself. And I realised, like others have said, is that my values came from my parents, who aren't, they're no longer around, and it gave me a real inner pride and inner steel to think that really they're living on in my values. And I think that when I think about values, it gives me great energy. And for when I'm doing training, I think that energy is really important, and to drive the other delegates in the room by uniting them, by getting them to think about their values and how they align with me. I think not only have you got an energetic room, you've got a united room, and a united room makes a real strong statement within that room and with what I'm trying to portray. But I think that the thing which really resonated with me is Tammy's TED Talk. And I am really a little bit like an emotional shark sometimes. I think that's really because of my police background, and I just get on with it. But it resonated with me like I haven't seen anything like that before, and it made me want to put something online that it has probably changed me in quite a way which I didn't think was possible. So it's been it's given me a lot more confidence about the future. And when I look back and thinking of my values, if I can portray my values to other people, that's only got to be a good thing. So it's energized me in ways which I didn't realize. So I think I'll be forever thankful for that.
I've been a trainer for around 15 years now, and I've never previously really thought in terms of values when training. I've always tried to do a training the best that I could, be the best trainer I could be, and to make sure that people who came on my training got the most from it, and that they would take useful things back into their workplace, whether they were youth offending workers, family group conference workers, social workers, police officers. But going through the values module, it sort of made it clearer to me that actually those are values. I just hadn't really named them as values before. And so it's helped me to realise that I do have values that come into my training, and it's good to be able to identify them. And I think it's important to think that way. And to know that what we're all doing as trainers is trying to help people do what they do better for the people that they're trying to help. And for me, it's really as simple as that.
I found it quite difficult, I think, to start with, to sort of try and identify what exactly my values are. I think people have said it before, it's sort of, it's me, this is who I am, and it's hard to sort of differentiate between, where they come from and how they're developed. And I quite like it the more that we're thinking about it. For me, I think I'm very much drawn to people who share my values, and who can bring out the things that I find really important. So it's been a nice time to reflect on the people that I choose to have in my life and who I spend time with, and what it is that I value in them, and then being able to reflect it back on, actually that's maybe something I need to appreciate more in myself. And then in terms of training, again, I've not really considered into about how values links to the training so much. And then I was thinking about it and I thought, well, I would never deliver training that went against my values. And then the more I thought about it, I realised actually the training sessions that I've run that really link to my core values, the things that I find really important, are the ones where I've been most alive, the ones that I've been most engaged in, the ones that I've really been able to get everybody in the room involved, and they're the ones that I feel like people have actually probably come away and I've managed to bring that subject to life and hopefully show them where my values link to that, and hopefully they can take it on forward.